Hello and welcome to the football world. You're watching the Football Current, powered by pure football energy. If football managers had transfer fees attached to their names, Hansi Flick would already be valued in 9 figures. Not because of glamour signings, not because of endless spending, but because of something far rarer in modern football: control in chaos. While Europe's richest clubs throw money at problems, FC Barcelona handed Hansi Flick a broken squad, a shrinking budget, and an injury list that never seemed to end, and asked him to compete at the highest level anyway. What followed wasn't just a tactical rebuild. It was a psychological reset. A club that once looked fragile rediscovered belief. A fan base that had grown tired of excuses started trusting again. And a team that was supposed to survive began punching far above its weight. This is the story of how Hansi Flick quietly rebuilt Barcelona, not by fixing what was obvious, but by challenging what everyone assumed was untouchable. When Hansi Flick arrived in Barcelona, there were no grand promises, no sweeping declarations of domination. Instead, there was pressure, relentless, suffocating pressure. Half the squad was injured. Recruitment had been modest at best. Expectations, however, remained brutally high. This was still Barcelona, a club expected to compete with oil-backed giants while counting pennies. From the outside, it felt like an impossible job. From the inside, it demanded something different entirely. You could see it on the touchline. One week, Flick was buzzing with energy, pacing the technical area, barking instructions. A few games later, he looked emotionally drained, sitting quietly, staring into space. This wasn't weakness. It was realism. Managing Barcelona in this era meant absorbing pressure from every direction. Media scrutiny, fan expectations, tactical limitations, and never letting it seep into the dressing room. What separated Hansi Flick wasn't bravado. It was resolve. He never complained, never blamed injuries, never asked for sympathy. He worked, relentlessly, and slowly the team began to change. Not just how they played, but how they thought. Barcelona's identity has always been sacred. From Johan Cruyff to Pep Guardiola to Xavi, possession wasn't a tactic, it was a belief system. Short passes, positional discipline, control through the ball. Flick understood that abandoning this DNA would be suicide. So instead, he evolved it. Ironically, the pain Barcelona once suffered at the hands of Flick's Bayern Munich, that unforgettable humiliation, became the blueprint for their rebirth. High tempo, vertical intent, aggressive pressing. Barcelona began dominating games using the same principles that once destroyed them. Football has a dark sense of symmetry. Unlike most managers, Flick didn't need seasons to embed his ideas. From the moment he set up his 4-2-3-1, Barcelona looked like a team already fluent in the language. Possession remained high, over 66%, but it now had urgency. Each pass carried intent. Each movement had purpose. Control was no longer passive. It was predatory. The structure shifted fluidly between a 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3-1, but the philosophy stayed consistent. The ball moved quickly from center-backs into midfield, searching for creators like Pedri, Dani Olmo, Raphinha, or Lamine Yamal. Positions were suggestions, not restrictions. Wingers drifted inside. Midfielders arrived late. Fullbacks surged forward. Barcelona became unpredictable, and unpredictability is lethal. Raphinha and Lamine Yamal were no longer touchline ornaments. They moved centrally, dragging defenders with them, opening corridors for Alejandro Balde and Jules Kounde to explode into space. Suddenly, Barcelona were overloading zones, collapsing defensive shapes, forcing mistakes. When the ball was lost, it was hunted down instantly. The press wasn't organized chaos, it was organized cruelty. The midfield was the engine. Flick abandoned the idea of a single, irreplaceable pivot. Without Sergio Busquets, that system had collapsed. Instead, he staggered a double pivot, players like Frenkie de Jong, Marc Casado, and Pedri sharing responsibility. One held, one progressed. Together, they controlled rhythm without dependency. This balance extended to the backline. Kounde became a metronome from deep, finishing among the league's top passers. Balde stretched the pitch aggressively. Every movement was synchronized. Every pass created a reaction. But the Real revolution came in the final third.
Barcelona cruising.
Scoring ugly goals? Winning aerial duels? Under Flick, the unthinkable became routine. Against Atletico Madrid, A team famous for defensive resilience under Diego Simeone, Barcelona overturned a 2-goal deficit, something Atletico hadn't suffered in nearly 2 decades. The goals told the story. An imperfect cross from Inigo Martinez, a moment of brilliance from Robert Lewandowski, chesting the ball and finishing with his weaker foot past Jan Oblak. From that moment, belief surged. Barcelona smelled blood. They attacked relentlessly. Crosses replaced sterile circulation. Runs flooded the box. The second goal followed the same pattern, chaos engineered through structure. This wasn't luck. It was training ground work executed under pressure. The same patterns appeared in the 7-1 demolition of Valencia. Rotated runs, decoy movements, late arrivals from midfield. Frenkie de Jong, Fermin Lopez, Ferran Torres, goals came from everywhere. 16 different scorers across competitions. This wasn't a team reliant on stars. It was a collective. Lewandowski, reborn under Flick, embodied the transformation. At an age when most strikers fade, he thrived. Dropping deep when needed, occupying defenders, finishing ruthlessly, felt like Bayern all over again. Experience met structure. Instinct met space. Behind him, Pedri orchestrated transitions like a conductor. Win the ball. Turn. Release. Often bypassing midfield entirely to exploit wide runners. When space closed, defenders like Kound and Cubarsí weren't afraid to go long. Barcelona could hurt teams in every way imaginable. Substitutions became weapons. Ferran Torres enjoyed his best season. Fermin Lopez delivered crucial goals off the bench. Only Atletico Madrid scored more from substitutes. And with additions like Marcus Rashford and Rooney Bargi, Flick gained tactical flexibility, pace, creativity, unpredictability. Youth, however, remained the soul. La Masia wasn't just respected, it was trusted. Lamine Yamal, fearless.
Fermín López, relentless. Alejandro Balde, explosive.
The press intensified because the legs never stopped. Barcelona ranked among La Liga's best in PPDA. Opponents suffocated. Mistakes were inevitable. Above all, the mentality changed. Even in a 7-0 win, Flick demanded more.
No excuses. No satisfaction.
Belief became policy. That belief spread. Players ran harder. Fans trusted deeper. Improvement became visible everywhere, especially in Raphinha, whose work rate, leadership, and versatility defined the new Barcelona. Of course, perfection doesn't exist. Flick's high line flirted with danger. Barcelona caught opponents offside more than anyone, but mistimed steps were punished, especially in Europe. Knockout football exposes risk. Yet every system carries consequence. What Hansi Flick has done isn't just tactical innovation. It's cultural recalibration. Barcelona didn't lose themselves, they evolved. Possession remains. Pressing intensified. Verticality added. The result is a team that feels alive again. This Barcelona doesn't just win. It asserts. It adapts. It believes. And now, the question isn't whether Hansi Flick is succeeding. The question is far more dangerous. If this is Barcelona still rebuilding, what happens when the rebuild is complete? Let me know in the comments.